Hey, Kevin, there's something you need to tell me, isn't there?
Huh? What's with that question out of nowhere?
I noticed some unusual activity in our account.
What do you mean unusual?
I was hoping you'd bring it up yourself.
Bring what up?
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I really don't.
Have you checked our bank account recently?
Why do you ask?
I think you know why.
I do check it sometimes.
When was the last time you looked?
Last week maybe?
I noticed something interesting this morning.
What are you talking about?
Do you really want to play this game?
I still understand what you mean.
Let me refresh your memory.
About what?
About a rather large withdrawal.
What withdrawal?
If you're not going to say anything, I'll ask directly. Is that okay?
Fine, ask.
I know you withdrew $3,000 from our joint savings.
Wait, you already found out?
Did you think I wouldn't?
How did you know?
I get notifications every time there's a large withdrawal.
Since when?
Since we opened the account. Did you think I wouldn't notice? You clearly hoped I wouldn't. Why didn't you tell me?
Well, I was going to tell you eventually.
When exactly?
When the time was right.
And when would that be?
I just needed some time to figure out how to tell you.
How about before taking the money?
It wasn't that simple.
It was obvious the moment you withdrew it last week.
What? Since last week?
Yes, last week.
And you're only bringing it up now?
Did you think I wouldn't check?
You check the account that often?
Yes, I check our accounts daily. I saw it immediately.
Really? Every day?
Every single day.
Then why didn't you say anything before?
I wanted to see if you'd be honest with me.
You were actually testing me all this time?
I gave you a week's grace period to explain yourself. But you didn't try to tell me anything at all.
You could have just asked me directly.
Like you could have told me directly before taking the money.
That's different.
How is it different?
Look, it's not what you think.
Really? Because I think my husband took money from our shared savings without telling me.
You're just making assumptions.
Then explain it to me.
It's complicated.
Then what is it? Because from where I'm standing, you took money from our shared savings without even mentioning it.
You always jump to conclusions.
Am I wrong?
But why I did it, yes.
Then tell me why.
I ran short on spending money and did it.
Short by $3,000?
But don't misunderstand.
What's there to misunderstand?
It's not debt or anything. I just made a somewhat big purchase.
A somewhat big purchase of $3,000?
When you say it like that,
How else should I say it?
you're making this into a bigger deal than it needs to be.
We agreed to discuss any purchases over $500. Remember that conversation?
That was different.
Different how?
This was a special situation.
Special enough to break our agreement?
You don't understand.
Then help me understand. There's nothing somewhat about $3,000. What did you buy?
Do we have to discuss this now? I will talk to you when I get home.
Tell me everything right now, or I'm locking you out of the house today.
What? Can't be serious.
Try me.
Wait a minute. I just finished work, so I'm heading home.
Then you better start explaining.
Are you really going to lock your husband out?
You really want to test me on this?
Come on, it's not that serious.
Taking $3,000 without discussing it isn't serious?
You're overreacting.
Overreacting to $3,000 disappearing.
It didn't disappear, I just spent it.
Without telling me.
I was going to tell you soon.
When exactly?
Eventually.
That's not good enough.
What do you want me to say?
The truth would be nice. If you don't want to be left in the cold, tell me honestly, what did you secretly spend $3,000 on?
Fine, I'll tell you. It was a present for my sister.
What? For your sister?
Yes, my sister.
You mean April?
Yeah, I bought April a present.
A $3,000 present? That expensive?
She finally got a job offer from her first choice company.
And that requires a $3,000 gift?
As her brother, I wanted to give her something to celebrate.
And you couldn't mention this to me first?
I wanted it to be a surprise.
A surprise for who? April or me?
Both, I guess.
You spent our joint savings on your sister without telling me?
She worked really hard for this job.
And that justifies taking money without asking.
You're making it sound worse than it is.
A job offer. That's great news, but what kind of $3,000 present did you buy?
A Gookie bag.
What? You bought her a designer bag?
I got her a larger one she can use for work.
You're kidding. You bought her such a luxury brand bag?
I thought she needs something nice for work.
And I'm sure April didn't even request for this.
She didn't have to. I know what my sister needs.
Better than she knows herself.
I'm her brother. I know these things.
And what about what your wife needs? Like being consulted about joint finances?
This is different.
How is it different?
No, as her brother, I got her something I thought she'd like.
Without asking if she'd even want it?
She's joining a big company, so she needs a bag that won't embarrass her.
And you think she'd be embarrassed without a Gookie bag?
I got her one that won't make her look bad in front of her colleagues or seniors.
That'll actually draw unwanted attention.
Oh, really?
A new graduate with a designer bag? People will talk.
No way, you're just jealous.
Jealous that you spent our money without asking?
Jealous of April.
Don't deflect this onto me.
I'm not deflecting.
Besides, giving your sister a $3,000 present is weird in itself.
How is it weird?
If you'd used your own spending money, that would be one thing. But taking from our joint savings...
Don't be so cold. April's both of our sister.
Don't start with that.
You're her sister-in-law, so let's make it a present from both of us.
Don't you dare make this about both of us.
Why not? We're family.
Family consults each other about large purchases.
You're being difficult about this.
Then you should have consulted me beforehand.
You would have said no.
So you just decided to do it anyway?
You never understand when it comes to April.
Instead, you withdrew $3,000 without saying anything. That's unacceptable.
You're making it too big of a deal of this.
No, you're not making it a big enough deal.
I said I'm sorry about that.
If you're saying it's a present from both of us, then go get it back right now. Return it and get the $3,000 back, and we'll celebrate her job offer in a different way later.
What? As for a gift back, are you crazy? I can't do something that tacky.
Then make it a gift just from you personally, not from both of us. So you take full financial responsibility. Transfer $3,000 from your personal account to our joint savings right now.
Don't be ridiculous. I used a joint account because I don't have savings. How can I pay it back?
You're kidding. You don't have any savings in your personal account? I've been telling you to save separately from our joint account.
Shut up. My savings amount isn't relevant right now.
Fine. You've ruined my mood today.
I'm not coming home. I'm going to my parents' house.
There you go again, running away when things get difficult.
Shut up. You're the problem, always complaining. And your wife shouldn't question her husband's decisions.
Emma, dear, I'm so sorry about my idiot son again. Margaret? I just heard about the bag he bought. Oh. I never thought he would do something so selfish. He came to you about this? He burst through the door complaining about you being unreasonable. Of course he did. He was quite worked up about it. Did he tell you everything? He tried to justify himself, if that's what you mean. What did he say? That you were overreacting about a simple gift. A simple $3,000 gift. He conveniently left that part out at first. I'm sorry, too, for involving you in our marital fights. Don't apologize, dear. He was probably complaining again, wasn't he? Every word out of his mouth was about how you don't understand. Understand what exactly? His special bond with April, apparently. He always uses that excuse. Yes, he came home ranting. What else did he say? Saying you're an only child, so you just don't understand. He didn't. Also saying that $3,000 is normal between siblings. He actually said that? He did. Can you believe the nerve of that boy? I feel like I'm going crazy sometimes. You're not crazy, dear. He is. Am I overreacting? Not at all. Sometimes I wonder if I'm being too harsh. Absolutely not. You really think so? I know so. That's definitely not normal, right? Of course not. $3,000. I have 5 siblings myself, but we never give such gifts. Never? Really? Between siblings, it's $0. 0. I tried to tell him that. He's always been generous with April, but this is too much. Too much is putting it mildly. It's getting worse, isn't it? Much worse. How long has this been going on? Even if they're close, a few $100s should be the limit. Exactly. Even that's pushing it. I don't know what to do anymore. Has he done things like this before? Not with this much money, but he often buys her expensive things. How often? Every few months, there's always something. Without telling you? Always without telling me. And never this expensive? Never this much. How does he justify it? He says it's his brotherly duty. His what? And never consults me. I can't believe this. This definitely has to stop. I've tried. Anyway, $3,000 is way over the line. I'll return the $3,000 to you later. Please don't do that. No, I insist. But it's not your responsibility at all. I can't just sit by and watch him do this to you. But I feel terrible accepting money from you. But I feel terrible about what he did. This isn't your fault. He's my son. His behavior reflects on me. No, that will actually defeat the purpose. Please let me help you somehow. I want the person who spent it to return it. I see. Oh well, you're absolutely right about that. He needs to learn on his own. I agree. He has to. I just want him to understand why this was wrong. I understand completely. I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle. Just remember, you're not alone in this. Thank you for being here. I'll tell him firmly then that he absolutely must return the $3,000 to you. Thank you for understanding. Of course, dear. Your family too. Sometimes I feel more like family with you than with him. It's the least I can do. You've been so supportive. I should have noticed this behavior earlier. It's not your fault. Oh dear, I'm so sorry about all this. That boy has such a severe sister complex. You've noticed too? Always causing trouble. It's getting worse. He just can't help doting on his much younger sister. Has he always been like this with April? Ever since she was born. They're 10 years apart, right? Yes, and it's only gotten worse with time. When did you first notice it getting worse? Probably when she started college. I didn't realize how deep this went. Maybe he wants to play the big brother role, showing off and everything. That makes sense. I thought he calmed down after seeing April earlier, but now he's saying I need to take her on a graduation trip next. What? A graduation trip for April? Can you believe it? After everything that just happened. He didn't mention anything about this to me. I thought he meant buying her travel vouchers, but no, he means going with her. With her? Together? I was too shocked for words. He actually wants to go on the trip with her? Yes, he's already looking at hotels, apparently. You're kidding. I wish I was. He hasn't even taken me on a trip in years. What? Not even for your anniversary? He always says we need to save money. While spending money on April? Exactly my point. But he can spend $3,000 on a bag for April. The irony isn't lost on me. This has to stop. I've tried telling him. I'll tell him to return the money before planning any trips. Thank you. And to take better care of his wife, too. I've tried talking to him about this so many times. And he doesn't listen? Never. What does he say when you bring it up? That I'm being jealous and unreasonable. He might not listen at all, but please try. Thank you for always being on my side. Of course, dear. You're the daughter I never had. That means a lot to me. Kevin, come back right now. I need your help.
I'm busy right now. Can it wait?
Would I text you if it could wait?
What is it? I have plans.
No, it absolutely cannot wait. Plans more important than an emergency?
What's wrong? What do you need help with?
I actually got into an accident on my way to work.
What?
I've been rushed to the emergency room.
Emergency room?
I'm at the hospital now.
Really? Are you okay?
They're still examining me.
But you can text in that situation?
I'm well enough to text like this.
That's something at least.
But it seems I've broken my right leg.
Broken your leg?
That's what they're saying.
But you're conscious and everything?
Yes, I'm conscious.
That's good at least.
And various parts of my body are starting to hurt more and more. I'm sorry, but could you come to the hospital? I need you to handle some of the paperwork.
The paperwork?
And listen to what the doctor has to say.
I can't do that now.
What could be more important than this matter?
I can't just drop everything like that, Emma.
But your wife is in the hospital!
You know I'm starting my graduation trip with April today.
Are you serious right now?
I'm about to meet her at Central Station. We've been planning this for weeks. You don't understand how important this is to us.
That's why I'm contacting you urgently.
But the trip...
Just cancel the trip. And come to the hospital right now!
What? Cancel? Our special trip to Florida?
Your wife has been in an accident and rushed to the emergency room.
Can't just cancel this.
That's more important than a trip, isn't it?
You don't understand how important this is.
More important than your injured wife?
We've been planning this forever.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
I can't just cancel.
Why not?
Do you know how much planning went into this?
I'm lying here, injured and alone.
You're at the hospital. You're not alone.
But I need my husband.
I booked a really nice hotel and everything. Same day cancellation is a 100% penalty. And April's looking forward to it, so I can't cancel.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing.
Be reasonable about this.
Reasonable? I'm in the emergency room.
The doctors are there.
They need someone to make medical decisions.
Can't your parents help?
You're my husband. You're my emergency contact.
But April...
Then I'll pay the cancellation fee, and I'll explain to April myself. Please, the pain is becoming unbearable.
The doctors will help with that.
Just this once. Prioritize me.
You're being dramatic.
Tell me you'll come to the hospital.
You really don't get it, do you?
Get what? That my husband won't come to me after an accident?
What are you saying?
That you're choosing a trip over your injured wife?
I'm your husband, but before that, I'm April's brother.
What does that even mean?
So I'll always prioritize her, my precious sister.
Over your wife in the emergency room?
Anyway, I'm going on the trip as planned.
You can't be serious.
You just lie there in the hospital by yourself. April is waiting.
She would understand.
Don't speak for my sister.
You're going to abandon your wife in this condition?
Doctors and nurses will take good care of you. It's not like me being there will make your injuries heal faster anyway.
But I need your support.
April just texted me that she's arrived at the station, so I'm going.
Kevin, please.
I'll buy you a souvenir or something, so just hang in there on your own for now.
A souvenir? While I'm in the emergency room?
See? You're low enough to be sarcastic.
I can't believe this is really happening.
You're making this bigger than it needs to be.
Bigger than it needs to be? Let me ask you one last time.
What?
You're saying you'll prioritize a trip with your sister over your wife who's been in an accident?
Yeah, today's my precious sister's graduation trip.
I see.
My time with my sister is more important than my wife.
Huh.
Well then, be good and stay quiet in the hospital.
I see.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means I finally understand where I stand with you. I'm cutting ties with you as your mother.
Huh?
To think you'd neglect your wife even at a time like this. That's enough. I don't want to see my foolish son's face anymore.
What are you talking about?
Don't ever show yourself in front of Emma again. You can go wherever you want.
Wait a minute, foolish son? Mom, is that you?
Yes, it's me.
Why are you answering Emma's phone?
Because I just rushed to Emma's side.
You didn't need to do that.
Someone had to be here for her.
The doctors are there.
And I saw her crying while holding her phone with bandages still soaked in blood.
What? Blood? Is it that bad?
I saw your entire conversation.
That was private.
I saw you abandon Emma.
Abandoned? What are you talking about?
You chose a trip over your injured wife.
Mom, please listen. I just said I can't cancel last minute. I said that I would go to the hospital after the trip.
You're going after the trip? Are you listening to yourself?
It's just for a few days.
Your wife is in the emergency room.
The doctors are taking care of her. You're overreacting too.
You should be going now, not after the trip.
Mom, please understand.
You idiot son.
Why are you being like this?
Why am I arriving at the hospital before you? You should have been the first one here.
I had prior plans.
Prior plans don't matter in an emergency.
Mom, you're overreacting just like Emma. I can't disappoint April.
But you can disappoint your wife.
That's different.
How is it different?
Well, I had plans with April. While my wife is somewhat important, family and sister are important too.
Somewhat important?
You have to keep promises in order.
Keep promises in order?
Yes, first come, first served.
She's your wife.
And April's my sister.
Your wife is in the emergency room.
I made plan of April a month ago.
That doesn't matter in an emergency.
So April takes priority.
Over your injured wife?
It's Emma's fault for suddenly getting into an accident today.
Emma's fault for getting injured?
She should have been more careful. April needs me.
No, your wife is the one that needs you now.
April is waiting.
I cannot believe these words are coming from my son.
Mom, you're being unfair.
Unfair? Like abandoning your injured wife?
I'm not abandoning her.
You're choosing a vacation over her emergency.
It's not just a vacation.
So that's your answer.
What answer?
Fine then. Let's cut family ties after all.
What?
You heard me perfectly well.
You don't mean that.
Try me.
Can't be serious.
And never come back home again.
Mom, please, don't do this to me.
I'm banning you from the house for life.
You wouldn't.
Try coming back, and I'll throw a bucket of water at you.
Mom, stop joking around.
This is no joke.
You wouldn't.
I've never been more serious.
Hey, wait! Why am I being blamed here?
You're asking why?
I'm just keeping my promise to my sister.
Over your wife's emergency?
But April...
Don't be stupid.
I'm not being stupid.
In an emergency like this, everyone would prioritize their wife.
But the trip...
Think about April's feelings too in this situation.
What? April's feelings?
Even she wouldn't be happy going on a trip under these circumstances.
You don't know that.
Of course I do. I raised both of you.
So?
I know exactly how April would feel about this.
No way, that's not true.
She would be horrified to know this situation.
April was looking forward to traveling with her big brother. She would smile and say, "Thank you, brother, I love you."
At the cost of abandoning Emma?
I just want to be a good brother to April.
By being a terrible husband to your wife?
I'm not terrible.
What would you call this then?
You don't understand our strong bond.
My goodness, I had no idea your sister complex was this severe.
What? I don't have a complex.
Well, do whatever you want then.
I will.
But remember, once you make a choice, you won't be able to take it back.
What do you mean?
You're choosing right now
Choosing what?
between your sister and your wife.
That's not fair.
Life isn't fair,
You can't make me choose between them.
but choices have consequences.
Han, please.
I'm done with this conversation.
Wait!
Just make your choice.
Emma, I just canceled the trip.
Huh?
I canceled everything.
Everything?
I called the airport and hotel and canceled everything.
Really?
I'm heading to the hospital now, so wait for me.
Now you want to come?
Of course I do.
What changed?
I'm coming there right now.
After saying you wouldn't?
I'll be there in 20 minutes. Are your injuries okay?
So now you care?
Are you still in pain somewhere? Don't worry, I'm heading to the hospital.
The time to worry about my pain was an hour ago. What made you change your mind?
I was wrong before.
Were you really?
I made a mistake.
Or did someone make you realize you were wrong?
I realized it myself.
Really?
I was stupid.
Just like that?
Please let me come see you.
What's gotten into you suddenly? What about your precious trip with April?
I canceled it.
Just like that?
Is it really okay to cancel? Yes, I canceled everything. The flights, the hotel, everything. I've calmed down a bit now. I realized that I need to treat my wife better sometimes. You must be feeling vulnerable after getting injured. Your loving husband is on his way, so just wait a little longer.
I don't want you here anymore. I've asked Margaret to put you on the no visitor list, so please, don't bother to come here.
What? No visitors? But I'm your husband. I'm your family. I have the right to visit you.
My blood pressure rises just from anger when you're around. I've been told to take a rest, so please, really, don't come.
Don't be so cold, Emma. If I can't see you, I have to cut ties with April too. So please, I'm begging you, just lift the visitor ban.
What?
I'm seriously in a taxi heading there right now. When I get to the hospital, I'll stay by your side and take care of you. I promise to put you first no matter what. So please don't abandon me.
Wait a minute, what's this all about? What do you mean about cutting ties with April?
Well, I met up with April at the station. But she said she wasn't in the mood for the trip anymore. Apparently, Mom had already told her about your accident. Then she said, "It's super creepy how you said you prioritized me over your wife." April, she's never called me creepy before.
Really? April said that? But she's always been so attached to you, always calling you Big Brother affectionately.
I know! My angel-like adorable April called me creepy. She looked at me with such cold eyes. I've never seen her like that. She said, "You're too creepy. I don't want to see you anymore. Let's cut ties."
She said all that? I see. So that's what it took to change your mind.
I even booked a luxury hotel for April. I tried telling her I prioritized her over my wife because I was thinking of her. But she said I never asked for that. It's just annoying. She brought the designer bag I gave her recently and said, "I only brought this to return it."
What? She returned that luxury designer bag?
She said weird rumors were spreading because of the bag I gave her.
What kind of rumors?
Like she must be working nights or some older man bought it for her.
Well, that's to be expected these days. A $3,000 designer bag is inappropriate for a college student.
But I just wanted her to have nice things. She said it's my fault she's getting these suspicious looks, and it's causing her trouble. She said straight up that it's not even her style, and she has no occasion to use it. That it's just wasteful to keep it.
April's surprisingly direct now. This is quite different from her usual Big Brother's biggest fan persona.
She's never talked to me like this before.
Maybe she's been wanting to say it for a while.
She used to adore me.
Or maybe just pretend to.
I've never seen April like this either. She always used to smile and say how much she loved her big brother.
People grow up, Kevin. Accept the reality.
But now she's saying I'm becoming a working adult. Stop being so overbearing. A man who neglects his wife is unacceptable as a brother and as a man. She said I'm completely disillusioned with you as a brother.
She has a point there.
She said she'll cut ties with me if I don't rush to your side now.
Oh, April.
She told me a lot of things. That while she appreciates the affection, I spent too much money on her. That prioritizing her over my wife is overwhelming and just annoying. That she's moving in with her boyfriend, so she wants me to stay away for good.
Moving in with her boyfriend? Oh my, April had a boyfriend?
She said she's moving in with him when she starts her job. And that my sister complex is excessive, so she wants me to stay away forever.
So April was troubled by you too. I've been misunderstanding everything.
Emma, I'm really sorry about earlier. I finally realized what's most important. The person I should prioritize most is you, my wife. I'm so sorry for neglecting you all this time.
Thanks, Kevin. You finally understand. But you know what? It's too late now. I've prepared divorce papers, so let's end this.
What?
You read correctly.
Divorce papers? How?
I asked Margaret to bring them.
Mom brought divorce papers?
Apparently, there's a city hall near the hospital. She brought the divorce papers in just a few minutes.
Wait a minute. You're joking, right? You're just saying this to make me reflect more?
Do I sound like I'm joking?
Can't be serious.
I've never been more serious. And Margaret has already signed as a witness.
Mom did?
She was quite eager to help, actually.
She wouldn't. Well, we can work this out.
No, there's nothing left to work out with you.
We can still fix this.
I've already made my decision, and I won't change it.
Please, let's talk about this.
We're talking now. I didn't expect her to come here, but it helps. I'll leave them at the nurse's station, so please sign them quietly. I still don't want to see you, so please respect the visiting restriction.
You can't be serious about this.
No, I mean it.
But I came back.
After choosing to leave first.
Wait, please. I don't want a divorce. I finally changed my ways. I promise I'll prioritize you from now on. Please, I'm begging you. We'll talk about divorce. Please reconsider.
Changed your ways? Because April rejected you?
That's not why.
Then why?
Because I love you.
Love me enough to abandon me in the hospital? It's all too late now. You made your choice to prioritize your precious sister over your wife who had just been in an accident. That's when all my love and feelings for you went cold.
No.
Margaret should be waiting in the hospital lobby. Well then, I'm going to take another nap, so just follow Margaret's instructions. I hope when I wake up, this divorce will be finalized. After I slept soundly for a full 24 hours, I woke up to find that Margaret had already submitted the divorce papers on my behalf. And my divorce from Kevin was finalized. It seems Margaret had also worked out the details of compensation and property division with Kevin. I got to keep the house and most of our savings. Later, Margaret brought April to visit me at the hospital, and it turned out April really hadn't known anything. She was in tears, saying, "I'm so sorry for being naive and just accepting brother's attention all this time. I had no idea you were being sacrificed." As for Kevin, he couldn't return home, and his beloved April told him, "I'm blocking you, brother," and cut off all contact. Having lost his savings, home, and family, I hear he's now living alone, crouched in isolation.
Thank you for watching all the way until the end. If you felt good after watching this video, please like the video. If not, please leave a comment and give us your feedback. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Your comments and likes help this channel grow. We hope you enjoy our other stories as well.
Excuse me, Lily. What is this invitation for? This doesn't look like the place I said I wanted you to have the wedding at.
I'm sorry, Kimberly, but there were a lot of people booked at the place you recommended that we have our wedding at. And it was the kind of place that required large numbers of people. And the website said to at least have 200 guests.
Well, you can get that amount of people together for your wedding, though. After inviting not only close family and friends, but everyone you knew from school and from your work, you'll have that many guests. And when it comes to my family, we have plenty of family members that we can bring along, and close to 25 cousins alone.
You really want that many people coming to our wedding, though?
If anything, not inviting a lot of guests would be strange. I'm sorry. For a family like yours, you don't have a lot of people in it, right? With you only ever having your mother around, you're missing all the family that your father would have had.
That's very true. And when it comes to my mom's family, it's pretty small, so there wouldn't be a lot to invite to the wedding for me.
So in other words, you went ahead and chose another venue because you didn't want to be embarrassed on your wedding day, right? Even though your mother-in-law went through all that effort finding you the perfect wedding venue of all places.
It had nothing to do with me not wanting to be embarrassed. I told you already that there was a lot of people already booked for the place, and that they asked while we invite at least 200 guests to it. We plan on only having close family and friends at the wedding, so that wouldn't do. We don't really like standing out in front of a bunch of people anyway.
But the wedding is where you're supposed to. The reason you hold it in the first place is to have as many people as possible celebrating it. However, you're saying you want to host a tiny little wedding of all things. I feel bad for my son Jack now.
Why?
There is only ever one wedding in a person's life, and I want for my successful son to be celebrated by as many people as possible on his big day. Yet for some reason, he's getting married to his fatherless woman. And because of that, his chance to show off to so many people is being ruined, and made another small get-together like all those simple couples have for weddings. I feel so sorry for the kid.
But even Jack said that he'd like to have a smaller wedding.
He's only saying that in order not to cause any trouble for you. Deep down, he's like any other man who wants to throw a massive party and be celebrated by all. I wonder if my son would be able to change to a better woman to make his wife. One who actually has both of her parents still. He does not need someone like you as a wife. I know that.
What?
This is what happens when you only have one parent raising you. He's going to have to sacrifice himself in order to deal with all the crap you've brought to the table now. I really do feel so sorry for the boy.
Kimberly, don't get started again with all those insults about my mom and I, please. And right now, we're not even talking about my family or how I was raised. So let's get back to talking about the wedding, shall we?
Shut up! I will not have a poor and fatherless child like you talking back to me like that. I guess you really weren't raised properly then. You don't even know your own position in the society right now.
What are you talking about? I am just wanting to get married to the man I love, and you just happen to be the mother of the man I love. So please stop talking to me in a manner as rude as that.
Huh?
Also, you need to stop calling my family poor like that as well. I get that you don't like the kind of background that I have, but you are starting to make fun of my mom now as well. Go ahead and say what you like about me, but you leave my mom out of it.
I know that you are all poor in that household. All of you single-parent families are nothing more than moneyless beggars.
Excuse me?
The job of a mother is to give their kids all the love in their heart. Things like money are what the man of the house is for, the father. But because you had no father, your mother had to go out and work all the time, leaving you at home alone. And there is no way a woman who works is making more than a man could. You were raised in a lazy household with no money and no love in it at all.
My mom made sure to love and support me better than anyone else could have. I never had a bad memory about my life when I've been with her, and there was never a moment where I regretted having her as my mom. I had a very good life as a child and a teen with her, and had everything everyone else my age had.
Stop trying to act all tough, you fatherless heathen. Now you're just getting all sassy with me, which is something I'll allow a wife of my son to be. I'm going to make sure your marriage doesn't happen anymore. Actually, I've already found my son a woman that is perfect for his class.
Stop saying such stupid crap like that. You can hate me all you want, but you do not get a say in the marriage your son has. And I'm going to marry him.
Well, my son happens to understand everything I tell him, and he's only agreeing with what you've chosen right now. Soon, he'll be agreeing with me again, and we'll be looking past you. Hey, Jack. Would you like to come out with your mom for lunch sometime? Recently, you and I haven't been able to have the mother-son bonding time we used to have.
What? Kimberly?
Come on now. Don't call me by my first name, please. I understand that you plan to get married soon and have a family of your own, but I'm still your mom, right? I will always be your mother forever, so please, continue calling me Mom. You can even call me Mama like you did when you were a little rascal.
What?
Listen, Jack, you and I can go get something for lunch together at the start of next month if you like. I actually happen to have a woman that I'd really like for you to meet.
What are you saying right now? You do realize that at the beginning of next month, I'm getting married to Lily, right? That's our wedding then.
You can put something like that on hold for a bit.
Huh?
Just say that you can't have a wedding that day anymore. I understand that in this day and age, something like that is hard to do, so you are more than welcome to cancel last minute on Lily if you'd like. Give an excuse about how you become sick or something.
Is this woman you have for me really worth canceling my wedding over in order to meet?
I put all of my marbles together looking for the perfect woman for you. She happens to be the daughter of a CEO as well. She has a great education, and her character is phenomenal. She is the perfect woman for a man like you. I think you'd be far better off with someone like her as your wife.
In other words, you're asking me to jump over to her and leave Lily behind? There's only a month left before the wedding and everything, and you're asking me to do the absurd.
I'm asking you to meet with this woman for me because I don't believe in you getting married to Lily. A CEO's daughter like her is 100 times better than that Lily is for you. If you do meet with this other woman and still want to be with Lily, then I guess you really do love her. Then I will never say another thing about you two ever again.
Really?
I'm just worried about you is all, Jack. I want you to have a marriage that won't fail you ever in the future. That is why this is the one and only thing I'm asking you to do for me. Just meet with her one time for me. And if you still choose to be with Lily, then I'll make sure to pay for your wedding being cancelled or delayed.
If that's what you're wanting, then I understand. I just have to meet with her once, right?
That's all I'm asking. Thank you so much, Jack. The fact that you're listening to me still shows that you really do love me, and I love you too. I'll get in touch with them right now and set up a date for you two. I'm sorry, Lily. I'm not going to be able to come out to your wedding today. Something very important just came up that I must be at.
Something more important than your own son's wedding. Today is our wedding, all right? So shouldn't this come before anything else?
Well, this is something very important to me. And it's not like you're even going to be able to have that wedding anyway. I've never heard of a wedding being held before where the groom isn't present. Since that's the kind of wedding you'll be having today, then there's no problem with me not showing up to it, right?
Huh?
Actually, it's not just me skipping out on the wedding, but my son as well. Sounds like he's not feeling too good right now. He said that he's been worried sick about getting married to a fatherless child like you, which is why he asked me to tell you that he wants for today's wedding to be cancelled.
I don't think that Jack would ever ask for something like that.
If you don't believe me, then take a look around at your wedding venue. My son shouldn't be anywhere inside that place. Perhaps he's even out right now with a really special woman having some coffee in this point in time.
Excuse me?
Anyway, now that you're aware of that, I'm going to be heading out. My son and I are both not showing up today, and I promise you that we won't be showing up for you no matter how much you beg for us to come. Forget about that marriage, please.
We never invited you though, Mom.
What? So don't worry about letting us know that you have plans more important than my wedding?
Never wanted you to be here today, so this isn't a problem for us.
A what? You just call me Mom, Lily. Huh?
But don't hurry your way out to that cafe. I already talked with that woman about what was going on, so you can go there, but there won't be anyone else to meet. Now have yourself a good coffee, all alone.
Wait a second, please. What? What the hell is going on here? Why are you using Lily's phone right now? Does that mean you're actually at that wedding venue already? You promised to come out with me to meet this woman I'd found for you, right?
Jack told me he never made that promise with you. I was just acting like him at the time and made that fake promise.
What?
So, you never did realize who you were texting then? Actually, when you were talking with who you presumed to be Jack about that woman you found for him, you were really talking to me. You told him to cancel last minute on our wedding, and then go out with you to meet that woman, right? A CEO's daughter, correct?
What was that?
I was pretty shocked to hear all of that from you. Never thought there could be a mother in this world willing to do something so horrible to her son. And then you went on about how I would beg for you guys to come here. Well, I was the one that made this whole plan up with you, and there's no reason for me to beg for any other outcome now.
No way. How could I have made such a mistake as that?
I was going to tell you who I was at the very start, but then I thought about how if I blew my cover there, you would come up with another plan to try and ruin this wedding another time. So I just decided to play Jack that time and get you to make a plan that was never going to happen. And then I thought to myself how I didn't want someone like you coming to our wedding later. Really, I thought it was the perfect chance to get you to stay away from the wedding.
Huh?
So, after I had faked being Jack and made that fake promise with you, I told Jack about everything and showed him the text you were sending me. And when I told him about how we wouldn't invite you after that, he was really happy. He told me that he would feel a whole lot better not having you at the wedding. So then and there, we both agreed to keep you off the guest list. You really are such a wonderful mother, aren't you?
I'm not screwing around right now. You've been making fun of me this whole entire time. Don't think you can get carried away now just because you kept me away from that wedding.
I'm not getting carried away, though. I was just keeping everything a secret from you until today, so that you wouldn't show up. And both Jack and I made sure to have your husband involved in this as well. He helped Jack explain to that girl you found what had happened and why she shouldn't go to the cafe with you. I was never going to get carried away with any of this because that was the only plan I had.
You have to be kidding me. You talked with my husband about all of this as well? And you told that young woman about this? All of that work I put in. I put in so much work finding that girl for my son to marry.
Yep. She really was such a wonderful young woman. When I was talking with her over the phone, she told me how bad she felt that I'd have a mother-in-law like you. And as a thank you for saving her from ever seeing you in person, she sent me some high-end shoes in the mail. She told me that whenever I wear them, I'll be reminded of how I saved another sister's life.
What?
So, with all that being said, please go and enjoy that other plan that popped up for you. You don't have to come to our wedding today, and after this, we're going to be cutting ties to you.
You're cutting ties to me too?
Both Jack and I decided that that was the best option. We don't want to deal with you anymore, Kimberly. And right now, Jack is next to me saying he's wanting to vomit after he just had a talk with you.
Why would you say something like that, Jack? I was just doing all of this for your happiness.
If you want for him to be happy, then allow for the two of us to have a great wedding and marriage. I was the one he proposed to and asked to be with for the rest of his life. I am the one that he chose, yet you are going against the one person he is most happy with, all for your own biased reasons.
You shut the hell up. I am against you marrying him because you were never raised the correct way like he was. Because you only ever had a mother raise you. You don't know what the love of both parents is like, and you have never been punished by both parents either. I have no choice but to say no to him marrying you, because you are nothing more than a useless child to the society.
If that's what you're gonna say, Mom, then I think the same thing about myself. I never knew what the love of both my parents was like.
What?
I never felt any love coming from you, only from Dad. If anything, I feel like I was raised in worse conditions than Lily was.
What the hell are you going on about right now, Jack? You were loved by both your father and I more than anyone else could be. We made sure to raise you to become the most successful man ever. I was always by your side and never let you once get into any trouble, right?
Are you kidding me? All you ever did was force me to stay inside all day while you left the house to go play.
What?
You were always leaving me with a babysitter while you left the house for close to 10 hours a day. When I was still young and would cry over small things, you wouldn't coddle me. You called me annoying and told me to shut the hell up. And that's why you never stuck around the house with me and hired so many babysitters. When it came to Dad, he had things like work that kept him busy all day so he couldn't always be with me. I'm pretty sure there was a reason for leaving me at home all the time like that as well, right?
Hold on,
You only ever came back home to start raising me after I'd finished elementary school. You came back for me then because I was older and no longer needed all of your attention, and then you started to try and act like my mother.
You remember a lot from back then, don't you? I thought you wouldn't be able to remember anything from when you were little.
I remember it all so well because I was always lonely and sad. I didn't even get to experience things like eating my mom's cooking like Lily has. And whenever I was sick and needed to stay home from school, you never said that it was okay. Instead, you forced me to go. I had to grow up never knowing what it was like to have parents around me who cared. And yet Lily still loves me. Someone like me who had no parents. So I ain't listening to the crap that comes out of your mouth about our marriage.
How dare you talk to your own mother like that?
Who are you calling my mother? You're not even willing to come out to my wedding today. Are we done here? I don't see you as my mother, and I never want to see you in general. I'm cutting ties to you right now. So when we have kids, and when you need your child to support you in old age, you can forget about trying to contact me, because I'm not ever letting you into my life again.
What am I going to do, Lily? I was told by my husband last night when he got home from your guy's wedding that he wants a divorce now. And then he kicked me out of the house. And when it turned night, he didn't let me back inside.
Well, there's no reason for someone to let you back into their house when they're getting a divorce from you. From what your husband has told me, you're nothing more than a stranger to him now.
No way. To be divorced at an age like mine, and having to lose my house now is too unbelievable. Hey, Lily, I'm coming over to your place right now. Would that be all right with you?
What?
I don't have anyone else to ask for help right now. I promise to stay quiet and not get in the way of your new married life to my son. So would you please allow me to come and live with you?
Did you forget that yesterday was the start of us having cut ties to you? There's no way we're going to let you into our house.
Then you will once you stop cutting ties to me, right? I get that I did some things wrong along the way, having been scared of doing things like raising Jack and always running from him. But as his mother, I've always loved him and still do. If I have to actually lose my son like this, my heart is going to be torn to shreds.
Kimberly.
Being from a house where you only ever had your mother, you can understand how horrible this is for me, right? You understand how precious the bond between a mother and her child is, right? No matter what happens, the mother should always be with her kids, right?
Good point. Considering that I only ever had my mother around, I do understand very well. Things like family are what the mother should be worried about most.
Lily!
Which is why a mother who doesn't put her family first and support them is no longer a mother at all. In that moment where they stop thinking about their family as everything, they become nothing. So could you please give up now? Your relationship you had with Jack was severed the moment you started to leave him home like that all the time to go out and play.
What?
It was only ever my mom and I in the house. And that's why I'm able to understand just how important it is for the child to have their mother, and the mother to raise their child. That's what a family really is. Even if I had my father around during all that, the family would still revolve around the mother's love for her kids. It's all about that love and support for one another. But for someone like you, who is only ever around when she needs help, that makes you anything but family to someone like Jack.
No, wait, Lily? Are you pretty much saying that I'm being abandoned now? That's so cold of you.
I'm sorry, but I never knew what it was like to be loved by both my parents and raised in a way you don't agree with. That might be the reason why I'm so cold at times. Sorry, I guess. But unlike Jack, I'm never going to cut ties to my mom, which means that I'm still warmer than someone like him who had both his parents around growing up. That's all. Goodbye forever now. After that, there were no more notifications on my phone from Kimberly, as I believe she had learned her place. And soon after that, her husband was able to get that divorce he had been wanting from her, and they were no more. Like she said to me, he would be taking the house and everything in the divorce, only leaving her with one of the cars and all of her furniture that he didn't even like. And so, after he had loaded up the car for her with all of her junk, he threw the keys out the window to where she was laying in the yard crying and told her to screw off. Then, Only once after that happened, she sent a message to Jack saying that she was so sorry for the mother she'd become and for never loving him enough to prove that they were family. And then she proceeded to say that one day she hoped that he'd be calling her his mama once more and that they'd be able to see one another again. But Jack didn't even give her response to any of that and left her on read, blocking her number right after that. I know that I'm pretty cold for what I said to his mom before I stopped talking to her, but what he did there was ice cold for sure. From rumors I've heard, after the divorce and everything, Kimberly made a move all the way back to her parents' house. But back there were all of her old classmates from back in the day, who had families of their own now with grandchildren and all, and the sight of that made her feel even worse. And so, to this day, she has closed herself off from the world and spends all her time inside the house, never leaving it for anything.
Thank you for watching till the end. If you felt good about this video, like the video. If you didn't like it, let me know why in the comments. Subscribe too. Your likes and subs lead to our motivation. We have so many videos on our channel as well, so go ahead and take a look. See you in the next video.
You have got some serious nerve. Do you know that? I mean, who do you think you are, making Dad do all of the housework all the time when you're the mom? This is why I'm honestly just embarrassed to be your daughter. Excuse me, Dot? What is all of this about? What do you mean you're embarrassed? Well, I had a big test today at school to make a really cute lunchbox, and I was the only one who totally failed. Everyone else's looked amazing. It's all your fault. You're the reason why I don't know how to make anything like that. Wow. Well, that is a pretty unique skill to not have, I guess. But at least it's not often that you do poorly on tests. Not often? It never happens. I never ever do poorly on tests. I've made it all the way to my final year in middle school, and I've never once failed an assignment. I've only ever been the best in my class, but now I'm the only person who failed this test. Can you even imagine how embarrassing that was for me? Now, Dot, I really do understand how much it can hurt to get a grade like that, but I really don't see how it's my fault. I already told you that it's all your fault because you make Dad do all of the housework. Everyone knew how to make really nice-looking lunches except for me because they all had their moms teach them and I didn't. And that's because you never ever make me lunch, so I've never had a chance to learn. And now I've actually failed a test for the first time in my life. I understand what you're saying, but why couldn't you just have your dad teach you? It might be how all your other friends learned, but your dad is the one who does all of the cooking in our house. I couldn't just ask Dad to teach me that. He has to focus on getting ready to go to work. But even though he goes to work to provide for us, you still make him do all of the work around the house all the time. Do you really think that Dad would even have time to teach me to do anything with how busy you're always keeping him? Well, I think you're also forgetting that I have to go to work as well. I get up early in the morning and don't come home until late at night because I'm at work. That's just an excuse. You're the mom, and that means it's your job to handle all of the housework. You can't be working that hard if all you're doing is going to work and making Dad do everything else. I was asking around at my school, and all the kids say that their dads don't do anything around the house, and their moms take care of it all, even if they have jobs. Yes, I am sure there are many families that do things that way too. But when I told them how we do things in our house, all the kids laughed at me and were telling me that we were doing it backwards. Well then, let me be the first to tell you that our family is not doing anything backwards at all. It's just that I have to work until very late in the day because things are so busy at my company. You know that most days I'm not getting back home until after 10 at night. So I talked to your dad and he agreed to take care of the housework since I was working so many hours. Oh, just stop it already, will you? Don't talk to me like any of this makes sense. You're just justifying it to yourself. Excuse me? Do you really think that? I bet your work isn't even actually that busy. You probably are just horrible at managing your time. Dad always comes back home at the same time, no matter how busy his job gets. I know that overtime is only for when you couldn't get your own work done on time and that only real jobs let you go home on time. Dad told me so. Did your dad really say all of that to you? That's right. He said that if someone has to do overtime, it's because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do during the workday. And to think that you still make him do all the housework when you don't even earn half of what he does. How can you say that, Dot? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I hit a sore spot for you? Do you think you're going well just because you have to work long hours? It's obvious that you're not doing anything right if you're coming home so late. And that's why you make me so embarrassed to be your daughter. No, just a moment. I don't think that this is any way to be talking to your mother. Do you understand me? Why? I'm only being honest with you. Does the truth hurt too much? If you don't like what I'm saying, then maybe you should try learning from Dad. If he can work and keep the house taken care of, then so can you. Especially when it's the mom's job to do so in the first place. Hey, Zach, I was just curious if you got a raise recently that made it so that you were earning twice what I was. Because I thought that you were still jobless after your job downsized and that you were just about to stop receiving your severance. I'm just curious where you got all this money from all of a sudden.
Sorry, what? I don't really get what you're asking me.
Well, you know how we agreed not to tell Dot about you losing your job, right? I've heard that since then, you've been trying to give her lessons on being an adult. But that you've been telling her stuff like that it's embarrassing to have to work overtime and that only real jobs let you come home time on time every day.
Oh, well, I think there must be some kind of misunderstanding.
Because I think that I work my butt off every single day to provide for you and Dot. And it's precisely because I work so hard that I've gotten to where I am in my company. And I've done all of that so that my family won't have to worry about if we can afford the house we live in and eat 3 square meals a day. But now I understand that you're telling her that she should be ashamed of me because I work so hard for you two.
No, Vicky, you've really got this all wrong. I wasn't trying to make Dot think that about you at all. You know that I have nothing but gratitude for all that you do for us. I mean, I don't have a job, so you're doing all the work to support us.
Oh, you mean that you're grateful for all the work that I do for this family? In that case, maybe it's time that we tell her about what happened to your job, no?
You can't be serious about this, right?
I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for you to muster the courage to tell her yourself. But instead, you've just been telling her all this nonsense. She thinks that you're coming home from your job at the same time every day when you don't even have a job.
Well, I really do want to tell her the truth, but she's still so young. And I don't want to negatively impact her development, you know? You know that kids these ages care so much about fitting in, and I would hate to give her another reason to worry about that.
Well, you are right about that. She does certainly seem to care a lot about what her classmates think about her. All her friends were teasing her because their moms have jobs and do all the housework. I assume that in their homes, it's the husband who's the breadwinner there. But Dot seems to be completely upset over the fact that her family might be different.
And you still want me to tell her that her own dad doesn't have a job? I doubt that there's a single person in her classroom who's in the same boat. I'm scared enough just thinking about how she might react if she finds out the truth.
And let's not forget the real reason that you were let go during this recent downsizing. Your boss fired you because you were trying to flirt with his wife. That's the real reason you don't want to talk to Dot about this, isn't it?
Well, come on. How can you bring that up right now?
Because you have to tell her, Zach. She is blaming me for everything. And you also need to find a job so that you can move out and we can get a divorce. You're lucky that I'm letting you stay here while you look for work, but I'm only doing so because you cried and begged for me to. Don't forget that we agreed to split up once you found a new job.
I know. I really am trying to do my best to stay out of your way in the meantime. But it's really hard to find a job.
That's all you ever say, and all the while, you insist in hiding the truth from our daughter. Instead, you just tell her all kinds of nasty lies about the real world, and in turn, she goes and blames our family's problems on me. When are you going to take responsibility for what you did?
Vicky, I actually think I have an idea that might work. What if we don't get divorced?
You can't be serious, right?
I just mean that we're living comfortably on your salary, right? So, what if I just become a house husband and you go to work? That way I can be there for you and Dot from here. You know how sorry I am for what I did with my boss's wife, so please, can't we rethink this whole thing?
No. 1,000,000 times no. Is that seriously the idea you had? Did you really think I was going to buy that?
Is it really such a bad one?
Of course it's a bad one. You need to grow up and take responsibility for your life, Zach. And you have to tell our daughter the truth about what you did. If you don't, I will. Hey, Mom, I bet you're not coming home until super late again, right? Well, I just want you to know that you don't have to bother coming home at all. In fact, I never want to see you around here again. Dot, what are you talking about this time? I mean that we don't need you in our family anymore. That's why I sent out divorce papers, so that Dad can finally be free from you. You sent out divorce papers? That's right. I couldn't just stand around and let you make Dad do all the work around here. You never do anything around the house, and you make Dad do all of it despite the fact that he has to work too. So I went ahead and took matters into my own hands. I knew that you would have to be out of the picture before Dad could ever be happy again. You mean you really filled out divorce paperwork for your own parents? You took them all the way to City Hall and handed them in? How else was I supposed to do it? I told them that you gave me the papers and sent me there to turn them in. They didn't believe me at first, but when they saw how well I forged your and Dad's signatures, they bought it. And then they said they would process it right away. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to think. My head is spinning right now. I can't believe that my own daughter would go ahead and do something like this. It's just so ridiculous I could laugh. The only one who should be laughing here is me. I've finally driven the source of all our problems out of the house. I got rid of the nasty freeloader forcing my poor dad to do so much for nothing in return. You're nothing but a parasite. Do you know that? Now Dad and I are going to be able to live in peace for the rest of our lives. Actually, I'm afraid that if anyone will have to move out, it's your father. What are you talking about? I mean that you were calling me a parasite, but the truth is that your father is the real freeloader here. But if you really want to go and live with him, you can be my guest, Dot. What kind of game are you playing at here, huh? What do you mean Dad is the real parasite? You're the one that never does anything for the family. No, you have it backwards again. It's your dad who doesn't contribute anything to us. In fact, I'm paying for everything for everyone in our house. You see, your father's company downsized recently, and he lost his job afterwards. He hasn't been able to find any work since then. I've been the sole provider for our family for a while now. Wait, Dad got fired? And you've been having to pay for everything? That's right, although your dad was very insistent that we hide the truth from you, so I went along with it and didn't say anything. But the fact is that your dad was fired about a year ago. You do know what that means, right? It means that Dad hasn't had a job for over a year, right? But I heard that when companies downsize, they only let go of their worst employees. That's one reason why people get let go. Sometimes it's because the employees aren't performing well. Other times it's because the company doesn't have enough money to keep paying them. But in this case, it's because your father was having an affair with his boss's wife. Wait, what? You're going to get the whole truth from me, okay? Your dad was dating someone who wasn't me. Do you understand? He was going out with his boss's wife, and when he found out, his boss fired your dad. Wait a second, so then you're telling me that Dad cheated on you? I know that you might find it hard to believe, but it's true. Since then, your dad and I have been talking about getting a divorce. We agreed to wait until he found a job to do it, since he didn't want to lose me without any source of income. I think he also didn't want to have to pay any child support, so he begged for me to let him stay with us. And he's been a freeloader at our house ever since. But I had no idea about any of this at all! But now you tell me that you've gone and filed divorce papers for the two of us. I was really shocked at first, but I'm more happy than anything. I'm finally free from having to take care of that no-good cheat. I was wanting to divorce him for so long, and now it's finally done. You mean you're happy that I did what I did? That's right. Now I can finally just focus on my work and how to grow my business. You have no idea how busy it is to run your own company, especially when you're also having to take care of a parasite and an ungrateful daughter. What do you mean, your own company? I mean that I'm the president of the company that I work at. I worked hard for 5 years, then I quit and started my own business. It's been growing steadily since then, but I think that your father was jealous of my success. I honestly think that that's why he chose to cheat on me in the first place. But I don't... What can I even say to all of that? Dad is jobless, and you're the president of your own company? Why didn't I know about any of this? Would you have believed me if I told you? You seem to be so sure that I was nothing but a poor worker making excuses to neglect my family. You said that I must be because I was always working so late. You have no idea how much that hurt to hear, considering the fact that I was only ever working hard for our family. No, Mom! There's been some kind of mistake! Really! But now, all those thankless days of hard work are finally over since you filed that paperwork for me. I suppose all that's left now is for you and your dad to pack your bags and move out.
Vicky, please don't do this to me. I heard it all from Dot. I know that she filed a divorce papers and I made sure to scold her for it. So please, can we go to the town hall together and solve this whole mess? We have to tell them that there's been a mistake.
I tried calling them already, actually, but they told me that the marriage had already been annulled and that there was nothing we could do about it. So that's it. We're divorced, Zach.
No! Please say it isn't so. You said we were only going to do it after I found a job, remember?
Well, I wasn't the one who did it. Dot was. Don't try and blame me for this.
Well, then we have to get married again right now.
Are you kidding me?
Of course not. We have to put things back the way they were. We have to stay married until I have a job. Let's get back together.
And just why in the world do you think that I would ever want to marry you again? It's been over a year and you still don't have a job. I doubt you've been looking. I mean, how can you when you spend all your time at those filthy bars?
What are you talking about?
Did you really think that I didn't know about those? After the first few months of you not finding a job, I wanted to know if you were even looking for one. So, I hired a private detective to find out what you do all day.
You hired someone to stalk me?
I hired someone who found out that all you do is waste your money at bars known for catering to lonely men. You never once seriously looked for a job.
No, you don't understand. There's been a mistake.
I'm just grateful that Dot did what I couldn't. But now that it's done, I never want to see you again.
Please, you can't be serious about this, right?
And I am going to be sure to get back all the money I gave you that I now know you just spend at these places too. Mom, please, you have to help me. Please let me come back home. I want to live with you from now on. I just got rid of the parasites in my house, and now one is trying to come back. If you try it, I'll spray you like the bug you are. How could you say that to your own daughter? You're no daughter of mine. Please, Mom, I was just confused before. I didn't know the truth. But I don't want to live with Dad anymore. He doesn't do anything all day. He still hasn't found a job. We live in a tiny little apartment with nothing to do, and I hate it. So please let me move back in with you. I've already given you my answer. I don't care if you are my daughter. The answer is still no. Please, I'm begging you. I'm so sorry for everything that I said to you. At least pay Dad my child support like you're supposed to. I actually don't owe a cent in child support. I was excused from having to pay that, seeing as how I always contributed so much to the two of you by myself. You wanted this, and now you have it. So have a nice life. I heard that even after that, Zach still didn't try finding a job. Instead, he took Dot to his parents' house in the country, and the two of them began working for his parents on their farm. Of course, both his parents had heard about our divorce and were so disappointed in their son. Dot was also in for a shock, having only lived in the city her whole life. She had to change schools and is teased by all her classmates for being such a city slicker.
Thank you for watching all the way until the end. If you felt good after watching this video, please like the video. If not, please leave a comment and give us your feedback. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Your comments and likes help this channel grow. We hope you enjoy our other stories as well.